So where does that show up?
Live one
Being, it's not live.
on your screen.
Green means, but
Up at the
each
top.
one is the opposite.
Yeah. So it'll show up
This one, green
for an
means
item. So
that-
since you're on call to order,
They could have
you can
used
see who
blue
won.
and orange.
And then how do I get
Well,
rid of this?
whatever, as long
They
as
can
it's the
withdraw it
same
once I'm
every week.
speaking. Yeah.
So you can win.
Okay, where is Abe? I know he's here. Is he following me?
Oh, okay, all right. We'll try.
Yeah, we'll see what we can do.
Well, we're running a little late.
Not much.
Well, we have to wait anyway. Abe's not here yet.
He's here. I see. He came in right behind me. He's just not here.
Okay, but we're all logged in and she can't even get.
Karen, can you help?
Here we go. We all ready?
Ready? Set up.
Abe, you're set to go? Yes. Okay. We'll call the May 9th Mobility and Traffic Safety Commission meeting to order. Can we get a roll call? Amanda?
Yes, Chair Michael Von Neumann.
Present.
Vice Chair June Hansberger.
Present.
Patricia Trouth.
Present.
Mary Lou Schultz.
Here.
Jim Wong.
Here.
Robert Prendergast. And Glenn Johnson.
Present.
Great. Next on the agenda is our Pledge of Allegiance. So if everyone will stand and join me. Pledge. Ready? Begin.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. Next on our agenda is approval of minutes. Hopefully, everybody's had an opportunity to look at the minutes. Anybody have any changes, or I'd entertain a motion for approval?
So
Move to approve.
second.
Okay, Commissioner Wong has moved, and Commissioner Schultz has seconded. So all in favor of approving the minutes?
Yes.
Let's vote.
It's not working.
Vote.
Sorry, we're having some technical difficulties over here. And I feel like I just voted for.
Okay, I
Darn. Maybe try here.
I tried there.
Okay.
Will it work as a touchscreen?
Can I just say it verbally?
Yeah, I can.
Okay.
I can just do it for you.
Here,
It was a yay vote.
it's a yay.
The motion passed. Great, yay. All right, next on our agenda is oral communications, and each speaker, if we have any, is allowed 3 minutes to address the commission. Just a reminder, we can't dialogue with people about any item that is discussed. However, depending on what people are talking about, we may end up talking about it later on in the meeting during our commissioner corner, but that's just a possibility. So if everyone understands that, I assume we have 2 speakers tonight?
We have one for oral communications.
Okay, great.
Yep. We have Chris Ryan.
There should be a little button.
You got me? Thank you. So Chris Ryan, Northwest Leucadia. I'm here to talk about several things that are going on in Northwest Leucadia and asking this commission to do whatever they can to facilitate any action on these items. Some are already passed this commission, but you voted on them in the past. And so I want to bring them back up and just talk to you a little bit about the different items that I have concerns about. One is about the at-grade rail crossing in the area. As you guys all know, or I expect you know, the area is now being fenced, and also there is very heavy deputy patrol of the area. So anybody that is attempting to cross is being ticketed. There are no warnings being given. I don't have an issue with law enforcement doing its job, but what I would like to see is anything that can be done to expedite the process of awarding a contract to somebody to do the study for the at-grade crossing so we can move forward on the project. I think that's a real safety issue for Northwest Leucadia, and I also think it's an access issue for people who live in the community, people who are trying to get to their homes, trying to get to restaurants and businesses. And with streetscape impending, I think that the work needs to be done now to get this in motion so people can safely cross in that corridor. My second issue is the Hygiena traffic circle that I've been waiting for over 15 years. It was fully funded. It's shovel ready. It's really going to improve traffic along Leucadia Boulevard, and with the extra impacts on La Costa Avenue, more and more people will be using Leucadia Boulevard, which is a main way for people to get from the freeway and East Encinitas down to the coast and down to the beach and everything in that area. So we really are in need of that last traffic circle and everything that comes with it, including the sort of complete sidewalks that are supposed to come with it, so that people don't have to, walkers don't have to cross the street in order to safely cross. There are places on Leucadia where you can't stay on one side of Leucadia to walk all the way down. You have to cross the street and then go back over, because there is no safe sidewalk or complete sidewalk down Leucadia Boulevard, which is one of the main thoroughfares in our community. The third one is the stop sign at Vulcan and La Costa. I was involved in trying to advocate for a stoplight being put there instead of the stop sign. The stop sign is, in my opinion, terrible. I live in that community, and I have to work north on the 78, off the 78, so I exit at La Costa and try to go west to make a left onto Sheridan in order to enter my community. And I have to use maps every day to make sure that is not too backed up, because I can be stopped at the gas station or at the exit ramp at the 5 and not be able to get to Sheridan to make my left-hand turn into my neighborhood, because the traffic is so backed up because there is a stop sign there. So whatever you can do to try to encourage a light that is then synchronized with the light at the 101 and La Costa, I think that'd be fabulous. All right, thank you very much.
Before you go, can I get your name again?
It's Chris Ryan.
Chris.
All right, thank you.
Okay. Let's see, next on the agenda Next on the agenda is special presentations, proclamations, and announcements. There are none this evening.
There is one, Chair. I'm really sorry. It's part of the reason I was a few minutes late. I'm not sure if this is, we probably had to do it before this even. I have to pull the speed survey item. There is a minor discrepancy in the survey. So the action item that we have for tonight, I'm not sure if it's, I mean, I have to pull it. It's not correct. So I guess it's not the time in the presentation, but yeah, I had to bring it. I was chatting. Sorry, I caught it last minute and I noticed it's not correct. I was chatting with Ian, and so I just got confirmation that it's not correct. So I have to pull it.
So we'll bring it next month?
This survey cannot come back next month. This survey is basically a no change in the speed limit.
I'm sorry, I don't understand.
The survey does not show a change in the speed limit, so we don't need to come back. It remains at 30, which is unfortunate. I have to look deeper, but this survey, I mean, if we do a new survey, might be different. But this survey today, we cannot bring this and propose a 25. This is not correct.
Okay, so can we do another survey?
Yeah, I got to look a little deeper to find out, because it's on record. We cannot basically continue doing surveys until we get to a lower speed limit. That's not legally correct, because it's a public record, unless I can find a issue with the radar or with the way it was conducted that would void the survey altogether. I don't know yet. I just know this. Like, I was walking, I was reading my material for my presentation. I noticed a glitch in there, and I was like, oh. And then I quickly texted Ian, and we were going back, and yeah, it's not correct. So.
Okay, so it has to remain at 30 for right now.
Right now, yeah, this survey, I cannot present this right now, sorry.
Okay, all right, so we'll...
And my apologies, I take full responsibility. I should have caught this. Yeah, it was it.
Okay, so so action item A is being removed.
Yes.
Okay, then we'll go ahead and, oh, well, one quick question. Is Ballure a classified street?
I do believe it is.
Okay, all right. So next on our action items is the Mobility and Traffic Safety Commission's letter for the City of Encinitas Planning Commission. We had a subcommittee prepare this letter, so I'll let them lead the discussion on this. However, do we have any public speakers?
We do. We have two
Okay,
speakers.
we'll go ahead and hear public speakers.
Okay. We have Cynthia Shea Palmer, followed by Cindy Cremona.
Good evening, everybody.
Yeah, if you could speak into the microphone.
Good evening. Abe, do you have a presentation? They said they queued it. Okay, go ahead and put it on the second slide. Okay, good evening, everyone. Thanks, traffic commissioners, for giving me the opportunity to come up here and chat once again on Clark. First off, really appreciate for all your collaborative work on pulling together this letter. A lot of good stuff into it. A lot of good stuff is in it, some really good recommendations, but we're going to review it tonight, so it was very good that it was posted so we could take a pre-read on it, because there were a couple items that we believe were misinterpreted or misstated, and that we want to make sure the content is, correct, particularly on the current designs, before that letter is forwarded on to the Planning Commission and to the City Council. So that's why I'm bringing this up here, because it's, a picture's worth 1,000 words. So the comment set on the safety and, all that stuff was great. I mean, getting that very transparent, exactly, what the neighbors would like to see. And if you can help me, Abe, on this with a pointer, because there isn't one here. So Clark, is in that red area. The misstatement there is that there's only one egress right now. There's two. There's two egresses in the plans right now. There's one, if you could point to Clark. Oh, wait, click it one more time. That's me. I can do that. There's one on Clark coming in that's an egress, and there's one on behind on Union under my words. You can't see it. But there's another neighborhood down there, Union. That's a dead-end street right now, and that's an ingress and egress, and they are as concerned as we are. So there's a recommendation that you're making in there that there's only one ingress and egress, but the fact is on the current plans there's two. We are still as concerned. The other thing that also presents is, you see that it says no through traffic, dead end. There is a barrier right there on Pueblo. The neighbors love that barrier. And the letter reads as though we don't want it, that we would like to see some sort of a study done on Pueblo and Saxony. The fact is, the study request is for Union and Saxony. The neighbors collectively, we've lived there when Leucadia Boulevard opened up and had all the traffic coming through, and it's going to get worse, and we'd like to emphasize as a neighborhood, including Union, that we would like to see that barrier stay. So those are a couple items in that letter that I think we would just like to see addressed, especially to make sure that the current state is represented appropriately. So again, many thanks.
Hi, you all. Thank you very much for the letter. I just wanted to mention a couple of things, kind of reiterate what Cynthia said. We originally came to the February 14th, maybe not myself, but members of our community came to the February 14th meeting, and it's been about 3 months in the making of the letter, and we are so appreciative. But the Planning Commission meeting is literally around the corner, and we can't wait another 3 months for the corrected letter. There are those two issues. There are two streets that are affected by incoming and outgoing traffic, which is, again, Clark and Union. The Pueblo barrier history is that entire Tortilla Flats neighborhood wrote a petition to the city, and with Sheila Cameron's help, got that barrier put in place. It is critical it stays there. The traffic already is going to be bad. Abe, I'm so disappointed in that letter because you are the guy that's telling us that we're not going to be affected by traffic in that community. And if you got this letter wrong, I'm sorry, if you got this, I know, if you got the letter wrong, then is your assessment of traffic incorrect also? It's super, super concerning. Putting that all aside, if we could have the letter quickly, because the Planning Commission is coming up, and that letter will be one of the only things from the city that's really going to help our case, and we appreciate it. Again, thank you.
We need to know who just spoke. I think you said Cindy, but she didn't say her. Did she say her name in the beginning?
Pardon me?
Cindy Cremona.
I'm also running for mayor.
And Chair, for the record, can you clarify that this letter was not prepared by the staff?
Just to clarify, that the letter is coming from our subcommittee of the Mobility and Traffic Safety Commission meeting and does not involve any staff work at this point.
And I'd just like to emphasize it was a draft letter.
And it is a draft letter, yes. Okay, so thank you for the comments from the public. Anybody else? Any other comments? Any other speakers?
Nope.
Okay, so I'll let the subcommittee take over the discussion of the letter.
Well, thank you, everybody, and thank you, Commissioner Truth. What we were trying to do was consolidate some of the comments that our citizenry came to us with and the concerns about the potential development on Clark Street. We did not have access to a site plan, and we were misinformed at the time of the single ingress and egress. So I think that's been clarified that there is a second exit on Union Street. So I think that'll clear up. But the idea here was to bring the information and put it in a letter form so that the commissioners can review it, comment on it, make some adjustments, make some changes, suggest some changes. What we were trying to do was just make sure that we had basically the gist of what all the community had come to us with, some of their concerns. Some of those echoed our concerns. But our goal was really to try to synthesize the information, identify some of the concerns that we've had through our conversations here on the commission and that we had in the subcommittee. Commissioner?
Yes, I just want to add to that. So, yeah, I mean, it was flashed up on one of our meetings, and we got the site plan last week. My concern was, you know, it's really not good enough to say there's an easement there, because an easement doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to be constructed. It just means that you have the right to construct it. So that was my concern, and that's why it was in the letter. But we will adjust that so that, you know, it's stating that we want the roadway built. And I think the roadway has to be built, because after looking at that site plan 2 or 3 times, I also noticed that there are 2 properties to the north of this project that need access. So that easement's going to be needed for those 2 properties. So from my perspective, I think that the issue is resolved, that the roadway will have to be part of the project.
In addressing the 4th bullet, the remediation of the proposed development, including the traffic barrier on Pueblo Street, did not intend to indicate that the commission was in favor of removing that barrier. What I was hoping to identify the barrier as a concern and what the impact of the development would be on that barrier. So I didn't see anything in the Planning Commission documents or anything that's been discussed here at the commission meetings about what would happen to that barrier if the project would be built. Because by having the barrier, you're clearly funneling ingress and egress and cut-throughs that might be disproportionately hurting one portion of the community and protecting the other portion of the community. So the question here is, was that considered, since we weren't given a presentation by the Planning Commission or by the developer to know what that impact would be on that site, dividing the community up. So that was our suggestion there.
Any other commissioners have any comments about the draft of the letter at this point? No? Okay. Commissioner Wong?
Yeah, sorry. First of all, I want to thank the subcommittee for writing a good letter. I think it's reasonably neutral and not too controversial. I'm just worried that we don't want to set a precedent where every group that opposes the development asks us to write a letter, because I don't think that's really our business. So as long as we make it clear that we're not setting a precedent, I think it's a good letter. And thank you very much for writing it.
I will reinforce the fact that we are not attempting to set any kind of precedent on this issue. We are not the body that can really have any influence or any decision-making on any development projects in the city. But as our commission is concerned with mobility and traffic safety, I think it is within our purview to respond to citizens who have issues regarding traffic and safety, and also to share our concerns about traffic safety with the other commissions and the other departments in the city. I am not completely clear on what kind of traffic studies need to be done for any projects or anything, and I think there was something in the letter, I think bullet point 5, provide the community a report detailing the impacts of the proposed development on safety, including the fire response time. And I haven't heard anything about fire response time.
The subcommittee's objective there was to get some information from either the planning department or the city to provide the residents with their analysis of the proposed impact. And I think that based on what I heard as people, citizens came to us, they had not heard that either. So either that information is available and we did not have access to it, but to me, those would be important considerations as the Planning Commission and the City Council makes decisions on projects like this, that information should be available to the community so they have an impact. They have an understanding of what those impacts are, how they're defined or deemed to be non-impactful or not. I'm not here to say that's a staff recommendation, but just really having access to the information that didn't appear to be granted in the past.
I just want to thank the subcommittee for writing the letter. I know that was a lot of work, and I appreciate the time you put in. I also want to thank the community members for coming in and bringing this to our attention. It has been on my attention or my radar for quite a while, being a resident of Northwest Leucadia. But I think it's really important that the community come and speak and get their views known. And so I just appreciate how you mobilized your community and brought your concerns to all of us. And I think it's impactful, and it provides information to us when we see these projects coming through. Not that we have any ability to, I know we've said this a lot of times, not that we have any ability to make any recommendations or changes, but we appreciate it being out there and being part of the public record. So thank you very much for coming in over and over again.
Commissioner Johnson here. I'd like to comment on this. I can't express on this letter my opinion on the development. However, I could notice that streets like Pueblo being closed off have become somewhat of a playground for children, and taking away parkland to build a development such as this is not what I would like.
Okay, so what we need to determine is what is our next step. We want to, resolve any rewrites and everything. And so I'm going to ask Amanda and/or Abe, how do we go about revising this letter among ourselves without having to wait every month?
I do believe, as we heard from our residents, the Planning Commission meeting, I want to say it's either later this month or early next month, so I'm not sure if we're going to make it to our next month's commission. I would say treat this letter like a meeting minute. If you want to add a sentence, just make revisions on the dais and make a motion. Amanda will finalize the letter and we'll send a copy to you. You can sign as the chair, and then we'll send it to the planner in responsible charge of the project. It will be added to the agenda package for the Planning Commission. I do like to have the motion for this letter at the meeting. I don't want to do this because of the Brown Act. I'm not sure if we can talk about that letter outside of this meeting after this. So I guess if you want to give a 5-minute window to the commissioners to write whatever they want to add to the letter or whatever edit they're recommending. If you like, I can quickly ask Amanda to take a few copies if you want to write on. And then, I would say whatever you want to do it today.
Okay,
Do
all right.
not move it
Is
to the
that
next
okay with the
meeting.
commissioners
Yeah.
to do that?
That's a really
Okay,
good plan.
all right.
Our meeting
Now,
is
is this something that we can just talk
Yeah,
amongst ourselves?
this is
All
an
right.
action item. You
Okay.
can discuss it. You can one member can ask to add a sentence. The others can. It's a
Okay.
full open agenda item. Yeah, you can do whatever you like with it.
Yeah, just to let everybody know, I have very little experience of writing letters by a committee, so this may not be real pretty.
I have a lot of experience writing by committee, and it's best if the two of you get together for a couple of minutes and we take a break for 5 minutes. You make the changes that you see are necessary, and then we'll come back and have a motion. Because if we have all 7 of us, it's going to take up forever, and we'll not do as good a job as if you just make the changes you see necessary.
That sounds like a good idea. It's fine with me to do, so we'll do, like, what do you need, like 45 minutes? No, just kidding, just kidding, just
You
kidding.
get 5.
Yeah, we'll do a 5-minute break, and we'll come back.
The fact that we had a council agenda item tonight, we have good enough time to, if you want to give them a few more minutes. Do you want to print a draft, or you have it already there?
We can pull it up on our screens, which you can also do up there. I just went into the agenda. I mean, maybe they want a copy of it, but it would be nice for maybe for the rest of the public to see the letter that was written. I don't know if that's possible.
Do you, Amanda, have the Word file here accessible that you can open and just edit it while they talk about it? That might be easier, even instead of them writing it just on the monitor.
No, I don't have the Word file.
Might be copyable from the PDF. Give it a try.
I just don't have my computer yet. Let's see if I can access mine.
I mean, the PDF is on the T folder, right?
But you
So
both-
see if you
both
can
have
copy
copies
paste
of
the
letters, so if you
PDF
just
into a
go
new
off
Word
somewhere
file and just do it right here.
Do what you need to do and then come back, okay?
I'm actually going to say it, 10-minute break, and if you're done earlier, great.
Now give them 5,
Okay.
because they'll take 10. Okay,
How about them Padres?
yeah.
Chair, we're ready. All right.
Okay, we're back after a 20-minute break with a revision of our letter. And it's up on the screens, and take it away.
All right, let's take a moment to kind of walk you through. First of all, at the very top, clearly it needs to be addressed to Kevin Doyle, who's the Director of the Planning Commission at this point, the Chairman. Do we need him with the word Chairman, or Planning Commission's fine?
Chair.
Okay.
Planning Commission.
All right, who's got it? Amanda, do you have it?
Yep.
Okay, so I guess we have to put Chairman Kevin Doyle. Or whatever. Okay, first bullet. I think our concern here in adjusting the second bullet that's blued out. I didn't change, you're right, thank you, Amanda, for changing that. The concern is on the north.
Excuse me,
Yes, sir.
this is me.
Yes.
Amanda, you're taking notes, or, so this also has to change?
Yep.
Dear Commissioner Van.
Oh, okay. All right, so in the second bullet, the issue here is on the Union Street access to the site. There's an easement that comes off of Union Street, that tees off of Union Street to a easement road, which then has access, is the second access to the site. I guess we have a site plan that we could circulate. So our concern is making sure, if this isn't done properly, then the only ingress and egress is off of Clark. So that was the statement there, is make sure the access is improved properly on that entrance into the site. I think it's pretty self-evident there, number 3. Number 4 is new, and that's a specific statement to maintain the Pueblo Street barrier. Last bullet, I think, is just cleaning it up. The concern that the subcommittee had here was this is a large project, and we've never seen, we've had issues in other projects with spillover parking into the community. So the objective here in the last bullet is making sure the community is aware of the parking requirements of the proposed development. If the development has enough parking to handle the development, or will that parking in essence spill out into the street where we have had other issues. So that's the strategic objective in the edit for the last bullet. And I think the rest is just some wordsmithing to be more specific or clear.
Can I just make a type on
Yes.
that last bullet, provide the community? I think that should be just A, not
Oh, versus and.
Yeah,
Yes.
because anyway.
Yeah, I took the word,
yeah,
I slept. So who's driving the bus on the edit? You? Got it.
And what we're seeing in the last paragraph is? The last paragraph is the last paragraph?
I believe,
No, there's no more.
One of the paragraphs kind of identifies the public input. And that should probably be updated if there's been any additional input.
Any comments from commissioners?
You got it.
Yep. Okay, so I guess we need to vote. It's an action item, so we need to approve it
I move we approve the letter
with the revisions.
with the revisions.
Do we have a second?
Yes.
Okay, thank you very much to both of you for doing this and doing this on the fly here at the meeting. Again, we're not, our commission is just trying to bring attention of the community to the Planning Commission, and we just want to recognize that. So we're not setting a precedent that every project is going to be reviewed in this way, but we feel strongly about this one. So without further ado, any other comments? We'll go ahead and vote to approve or not to approve the letter.
So Chair, we'll prepare the letter with the changes. Amanda will send it to you, or if you have time, you can just come to the city hall for signing it, or we can send it to you. You can sign and send it back to us, whichever way you want.
Okay,
I will send it to you within the next 2-3 days.
okay, thank you.
Where it says voting, put your finger where it says voting and push on that.
What?
Push there.
How do I get?
I can do it here if you want to do it verbally.
I vote in favor of it.
There we go.
Motion passed. Thank you very much, everybody. Okay, next on our agenda is item 8, City Traffic Engineer Report. Abe?
Thank you, Chair. First time we're presenting it this way.
Thank you, folks, for coming.
So 2 items that are not here, I believe the Glen Arbor speed cushions were modified. And also we have now installed LED blinking stop signs on westbound La Costa, on Santa Fe and Vulcan intersection, and 2 intersections on Rancho Santa Fe. The Rancho Santa Fe ones are turned off during the weekend, were turned off during the weekend, will be turned back on very soon.
I'm sorry, can you say that again? Where on La Costa?
Westbound La Costa at Vulcan.
And it's a stop sign with flashing,
Blinking, yeah, blinking LEDs on them.
okay, but it's not for crossing, it's just to alert people that the stop sign is there. Is that
Correct, yes.
Okay.
The other lines here, Chair, we did get your recommendation. This is a, I guess, work in progress. We'll revise it next month, make it more look like what you sent us. These updates, very, very final stages of the second phase of the cycle track, the 2-way cycle tracks on Coast Highway 101. 90% plus, I would say 95% plus. We're getting there. A lot of details with that, and a lot of minor, I guess, new elements of design that there aren't that many good examples around. I guess we're doing something that's very, not necessarily innovative, but our manuals and standards don't talk about a lot of the treatments that we're adding with this project, so we have to really think deep before introducing a new sign or a striping detail or something there. That's what's causing us a little bit of delay. We are having it peer reviewed by our consultant to make sure there are no fatal flaws in there. Obviously, as said, because of the fact that there's no solid standard for designing a 2-way cycle track and all these elements of design that I was talking about, every engineer would treat certain elements of design differently. So we are hearing different thoughts, but ultimately we have to make a decision. There's no, in a lot of cases, there's no really right or wrong. But it will be taken to council for final blessing of council and design immunity purposes before council goes on a break. So I'm hopeful I can take it to council early June.
When?
I'm not sure about the date. If we make it to the first meeting of June, that would be good.
If I can interrupt just for a second with a question, you said that you're working with consultants?
Yes, we did. As you know, we did the design in-house. Had a few rounds, checked it, edited, edit, check. So the design, when we thought it was 90%, we passed it to the consultant, our bench consultant who did the first phase design for us. We asked them to peer review it, provide us their comments, They provided us a very long list of comments, and we had a meeting with them. So now we're incorporating the comments that they had that we felt are, I guess, beneficial, and discussing the ones that we don't want to implement to kind of make sure that there's no fatal flaw. And those are more like preferences that they suggested we do. So that's where we're at right now. As soon as the design is finalized, we will take it to City Council for design immunity, and then it would be submitted to Caltrans to give us the $720,000 that we're granted.
So we won't see it again?
Not for approval,
Plans.
no. No,
Okay.
it's already approved here, and it's already approved by council. Council already approved, and both the commission and council, that was a 30% design. The rest of, like, the changes are not to the level that would basically
Okay.
change the design in the eyes of council or commission.
Okay.
They're like one tiny dot line here or one sign there, and
Right. And who's the consultant? I mean,
STC.
Are they
the-
experienced in designing bike lanes, bike paths, et cetera?
They've done multiple, yeah, and they are the ones who did the first phase, the design of the first phase for us, the south of Chesterfield one.
Okay.
Commissioner Wong here, could you just clarify expected completion? You have fall this year. so-
The council approval of the final design for us to be able to submit it to Caltrans, assuming it happens in June. We send it to Caltrans, let's say late June, early July. Caltrans usually takes between 2 months to 3 months to send this to Sacramento and come back with what they call E76. Well, in this case, this is a different form, but anyway, basically authorization to spend. So before getting that authorization to spend, we do have that 720,000, but we don't have the green light to spend. They have to green light, and then we can go hire a contractor and start building it, and then invoice them to get reimbursed. So that's the window that's out of our hand. But after council providing us design immunity and approving the final plan, it's a matter of how soon Caltrans greenlights the project, which again, at the latest, is 3 months. It shouldn't be. And then we would have to go out to bid, find a contractor, another 40 days, 45 days to find a contractor, go to council, approve award the contract, pre-bid, pre-construction meeting, another, I would say, 2 months.
So
6
we're
months
looking
from now.
2023?
6 months from now is
2022, that's the green light, hopeful green light from Caltrans. But after that, you have funds, and the city has allocated CIP funds, is that correct? So you go ahead and put out the bid after that?
I do believe there is an extra $300,000 that council is not yet approved. It's on our proposal to council to add to this, because council directed the staff to extend the project all the way to K Street, and we're adding a few more improvements. So that will be added to the 720 that we have from Caltrans. So, but again, as soon as council, my estimate is we'll have the green light from Caltrans late August, early September, somewhere there. And then it depends on how fast we can find a contractor and then start shoveling ground. Yeah, late fall is fair. I think we should be able to pull it off.
That would be the green light from Caltrans and putting things in motion. Do we have hope for start construction date?
That's what I'm saying. Late fall for construction.
Oh, really? Okay, so
Well, great.
that's not too optimistic.
Yeah, that's tight. That's not like a very, very, I guess, flexible schedule. But yeah, if we get the Caltrans approval in August or early September, starting construction 2 months after, it's not impossible.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
The pedestrian pathway on La Costa west of Vulcan, still, we have the contractor. There has been some minor issues with the kicking it off, shoveling ground. We're looking for an inspector to help us with the inspection of the job, but the contractor is on board. The contract is signed, awarded, everything in place. The money's there, so it should happen very soon.
I just check in, the fencing that you were going to move from the neighbor's house, is that part of this as well, or is that a separate?
That's a separate. That one is still in process. It's happening, but yeah, nothing. I guess is as simple. So this, I guess I can say this. It's not. It's public record. So there is a survey that we have that shows that fence is the second fence is in our right of way, and there is a survey that the resident has that shows the second fence is in his property, and then there is another survey that the city's GIS layer uses, and that survey shows only a 12-feet segment of that fence is in his property. So we have 3 surveys that have. That's why I personally went. I requested a meeting with the resident. I went out there. I said, "Hey, forget about what the survey says. We don't want to start a legal situation. You hire your attorney. We hire our. Like we go do official survey and find. It would take 4 months. What if just for the sake of our residents, your friends, your neighborhood, you allow us to move this fence?" And on our dime, we'll do it. We'll open up the path. And 2 years from now, a year and a half from now, when that Vulcan project builds the easterly sidewalk, because they're on hook to build the sidewalk, the 1967, I think, Vulcan. Once they built the sidewalk, we can remove this unofficial walkway, I guess, because it's not paved or it's not. So we're working on that with the resident, and they've been cooperative, and they're trying to help us make it happen. There are a lot of complications, I guess, with, yeah.
Any idea on time? That kind of seems the theme here. We want to just pin you down on time.
I'm actively working. Like, this is something that every week we talk about it, and I mean, I just gave you the tip of the iceberg. I don't want to go, like, let me go a little bit deeper to give you how complicated it can be. If this fence that we're removing is actually in the resident's property, and we are removing it, one piece of it is using city funds to remove a fence that is in somebody else's property, which technically we shouldn't do, but because it's I guess a benefit to the community in general, we might have a way of doing it. If we get past that hoop, the second one is now we're providing public access to a private residence, to a private property. So what if something happens, a resident falls down, they're falling down in somebody else's property. So we're creating a walkway, and 2 feet off that 4 feet wide walkway is somebody else's property. So we have to get either an easement or a right of entry to their property so that they're off the hook. So there's no liability, there's indemnification for them. So there are all these complications. You would think, oh, we're just opening a 4-foot narrow path, but there are a lot of, so we are working on it. This is not off our radar. We are actively trying to make it happen. We have like multiple conversations with our public works department who are trying to help us open that path. We are working on it. Give me another month.
Thank you.
And
for
this
all
will
your
not
work.
go away. This will be on this list. So, yeah, you can bring it up next month if you see it again on this list. Our HC projects, the 4 signal modifications with the protected left turns. We have submitted our package, both this one and our street lighting upgrades. Both of these, about $500,000 for the 4 signals and about $700,000 for the street lights. Both of them were sent to Caltrans. That 2 to 3 month window that I said they take to green light our projects started 3-4 weeks back. So within a month and a half, maybe 2, we will have their green light, and we will start these upgrades to the city, these improvements.
Hey, quick question. It says summer 2023, winter 23, winter 23. Is that accurate? I mean, for these signal modifications, it won't be for another year?
if we get the funds in 2 months, the soonest we can build this is 9 months after.
So it is into 2023.
Yes,
Okay.
because a signal pole, even if you know what you want, is right now 6 months back ordered.
Okay.
It's the most successful business in the country right now,
Yep.
building signal poles. The street lighting upgrade might happen a little bit faster because the poles are already there, the signal posts are already, the lighting posts are already there. It's just retrofitting what's in there, so they have to take the bulbs out and put the new LEDs. The local roadway safety plan, this one is going to council, I believe, May 25th, if I'm not mistaken. Is there a meeting on 25th? Yes, I think it's on 25th. And our prima facie speed limit and the 25 mile per hour, in case commissioners want to hear about it, it is on the council agenda for next Wednesday, the 18th.
And what was that?
The prima facie, the 25 mile for Vulcan and San Alejo. Yes.
Oh, so that's going May 25th. Excellent.
Yeah, and the AB 43 is also being discussed at the council, the Senate bill that we talked about. That one will be also in the presentation.
I'm sorry, just to clarify, Abe, you said the 25 mile an hour speed limit on,
So there was a commission item about, I want to say 6, maybe more, 7, 8 months ago, to find a way to lower speed limits on certain roads of the city. San Alejo and Vulcan were chosen as a pilot to take them off of the state map, consider them local road, and then do a 25.
and that's on the 18th agenda?
Next Wednesday, yes. Next Wednesday.
That, the 25 mile an hour speed limit are on the 18th, not the 25th, I want to make sure.
The 25th is the LRSP. And to clarify, this is just getting council's direction on proceeding. They cannot approve this. Council would have to direct the staff to go to MPO and to Caltrans, request them these roads be taken off the state map, and then come back to council, designate them as local roads 25 miles per hour.
Abe, you and your staff spent a lot of time on that project, and I think it's really great, and I hope the city council will say, hey, let's move forward with it. It would validate a lot of your work, and it would definitely benefit the city. And if this one goes well, then we can look at those other streets also. So it was a lot of work, and I'm very grateful for you guys doing that.
It is certainly, I mean, I really like the innovative approach where we're basically, I don't want to use the word like tricking the system, but it's the way that like a lot of big cities did the same. Like as you said, New York, Seattle, a lot of bigger cities found, loopholes to go away from the 85th percentile system. This is a similar approach. The only caveat which I did add to my council report is that upon doing this road will not be eligible for state funds anymore. But I was told by Caltrans folks in Sacramento that there's a way back. So if it comes to a point where we really need a grant funding and it's a guaranteed win, if we feel like we will absolutely win it if we apply, we can always revert the process and take it off of the state map. We'll see how it works.
Yeah.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, go ahead.
So just by moving Vulcan off the map you're talking about, there is the problem that it would not be any sort of project or anything along Vulcan would not be able to get state grant funds. Is that what you're saying?
Correct, yes, yeah.
Okay, but there's a path back.
Correct. There is a way of taking it back, putting it back on that map, yes.
Well, can we
I
use
think
the same loophole that Seattle and New York City did, since they've proven it works?
This is, they did a more, a more broad, they, declared some sort of like a safety zone, like something similar to the whole Vision Zero thing, that they use some other factor non-traffic related to justify we're not going to abide by this because of health reasons or safety reasons. That was like it was not a traffic engineering, I guess, trick that.
But we have Vision Zero also, so can't we use the same?
Yeah, I mean that's more of an attorney thing. I mean I've looked at their language. The way New York did it is very different. Seattle is more similar to this, but yeah, it's the 85th. I mean the thing is, I can go out and post whatever sign I like. There's nobody preventing it. It's a matter of how it will fly in court, and unfortunately, it has to be said because this is again a data. Our judges in California are very, very protective of the residents when it comes to speed limit, and the number of tickets dismissed in our region, in our state, is the percentage is way higher. So we have to be very, very firm when we create a speed limit that it's defensible in court and the speed limit is justified and it checks all the boxes, dots all the I's and T's are all crossed. It's yeah, we got to be really, really safe. Otherwise, our sheriff's deputies will not enforce because they know they're going to lose all the cases.
Okay.
Well, it's one step at a time.
Yeah,
So, thank you.
We'll start. We'll see how it goes.
Okay, is that it for you, Abe?
Yes.
All right. Next, well, also included was the development project review that is given to us every month. Any comments or observations on that? Okay. I guess we go to the follow-up log, and if there are any changes since the last time we spoke about any of these items, let's go ahead and hear those. Otherwise, we can have questions. Any commissioners have any questions on the follow-up log?
We just lost it.
Oh,
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you were looking at it with your package.
But no,
Oh.
no,
No, this isn't it. Keep going. It's still not on it.
that's not it.
Oh,
Yeah.
One right below.
there, whoop,
Right below.
up one. There you go.
oh, I had the log open. You didn't.
There you go.
Can you just make that a little bigger? There you go. Thank you.
Excuse me, Chair, we also have one speaker on this item.
We'll go ahead and entertain the speaker. 8C. All right, follow.
District, and I live on Eolas Avenue. And I noticed my favorite project is on this list here, so I decided to come in and see what was going on. I'm not exactly sure what this means, but I have lots to talk about it. Since this traffic circle went in, the intersection is more dangerous than it was before. I have personally experienced more scary moments than in 17 years before it went in. I've talked to the residents, the 3 and foremost residents that live closest there, and they all will say that they hear much more action at the intersection than there ever was before there was any kind of item there. Let's see. If you look at the Zero Vision map, there's a map on the Zero Vision paperwork on on our city council website. This intersection is not marked with any circles. The state didn't say that there was any incidents at this traffic circle. Why is it there? Why did it get put in if it wasn't a high incident area? It's very confusing. I took a survey of 58 people there, and by 2-to-1 margin, they said, get this thing out of here. It's worse than not having it. And the people that liked it, they didn't really like it. They thought we could do better. They were okay with it, but they thought something could be better, perhaps a stop sign. maintenance. How does this thing get cleaned? I don't think Luigi is going to go all the way up there to clean a 20-foot diameter. The inside of this is filthy with dirt and debris and probably toxics too. You know, I can get the city environmental compliance guy there. Look, a lot of the people over the past months have been complaining about the Vulcan Avenue stop sign. The lady here earlier, she said she can't get off the freeway. I have the opposite problem. I can't get out of there and turn right to get to the freeway because the stop sign now spaces the cars perfectly that there's no room. When there was no stoplight or stop sign, there's a bunch of cars and there's no car. Okay, I can get safely. Now it's not safe. Speaking of safe, this traffic circle in particular assumes that you have a high skill level of driving, like a Formula One driver. I don't think that's the intent of any safety devices, is that the driver's skill is imperative to safely negotiate it. The councilman said that you didn't have influence. I think you're underselling yourself. This commission does have a lot of influence in the city and on the planning and on the city council. And I'm glad that you take your job seriously. I've enjoyed my time here today. I guess I'm done. Thank you.
What was your name again?
Scott Campbell.
Scott, yeah.
We talked a couple weeks ago.
No, I sometimes have to ask again. Hey, at one time, like that intersection was considered with at the Eolus, that traffic circle. At one time, if my memory is correct, it was considered maybe putting in stop signs, but the stop signs weren't warranted for that. And so this was an alternative plan, and it was supposed to be, you know, put in and then at a certain time take a survey and make a study of it to see if it's being effective and everything. Are we doing that? Are we taking a look to see how effective it is?
Correct. We are actually in process of doing it. We just last week got some data because we had received some feedback from some residents that there are drivers who don't go around and just follow the straight path and go in the opposite direction. We wanted to see what kind of a volume we're looking at. Fortunately, the number was small, I think, for a full day from 7 a.m. to 8 p.m., like 13, not full day, but like 13 hours. I think the count was like 7 vehicles. And I was told that they were all long vehicles that decided to not go around the circle because it's probably a tough maneuver to make. There hasn't been any collisions. But again, it's tough to do it before and after because there weren't that many collisions before anyway. We will continue our evaluations. We are supposed to go back to council. I think the council minutes said 6 to 12 months, if I'm not mistaken, right? 6 to 12 months, yeah. So 6 to 12 months after first implementation, which I want to say was last October, we will go back to council and provide our findings.
Okay, thank you.
So I have a couple comments. So first off, thank you for coming in and speaking. I so appreciate your input. And if I remember this intersection correctly, it did qualify for a stop sign, and because of that, you did a study. So Mr. Campbell asked why did the roundabout get put in? It qualified for a stop sign, and the residents that live right at that corner came out in force. They contacted Councilmember Krantz, and they said, absolutely, we do not want a stop sign. And there was a huge neighborhood outcry that they did not want a stop sign there. Councilmember Krantz and Abe graciously agreed to design a traffic circle. It is a temporary traffic circle to see how it's working in the neighborhood. I personally drive amazingly large cars, I'm sorry to say, and I am a poor driver, and I have no problem negotiating that corner, or that traffic circle. I do it all the time, and in fact, I just drove it yesterday when there was a huge garden truck parked on the side there, and I had no problem getting around in my large Land Cruiser. So I have to tell you, I personally, I appreciate your opinion, thank you. I personally really love the traffic circle. I feel safer coming in and out of that neighborhood. I don't feel like the cars coming up Hillcrest are gonna hit me. I can see them coming. It slows traffic, and it's made it so much safer for bike and pedestrian safety in our neighborhood. I'm also thrilled that we were able to construct it for such low cost. And I do agree, I'd love the debris in the center to be cleaned out, and in fact, I'd love a tree or something in there. But I'm thrilled with how it's working, so I know everybody has their opinions, but I really think it's a huge improvement for our neighborhood. And again, it was put in because there was a huge request from the neighborhoods not to put a stop sign there, which I think, if I understand correctly, Abe, that after you did that study and a stop sign was needed there, you had to put something in to mitigate traffic, is my understanding, because if you didn't and there was an accident, then the city would be liable. Do I have that correct?
It was warranted. Council initially voted on it and then later on decided to revert its vote. So
That was because there was so much outcry in the neighborhood, and that's when the traffic circle got put in. So just a little history there. So anyway, I like it. I think it's helping biking, traffic, pedestrian safety, and slowing cars, which is what we want in our neighborhood. So thank you.
Commissioners, any other comments on this item? Okay. Thank you, Abe. Thank you, Scott. Next item on our agenda is Commissioner Corner.
I do have an item in the queue.
We have already done the follow-up log.
Understand, this is Commissioner's Corner, correct?
Yep. Does anybody have any comments or questions or discussions for Commissioner Corner?
Yes, that's why I'm saying that I have an item.
Okay.
Abe, he has some files.
Yeah, I'll get to those in a sec. So I want to bring to your attention a problem that's existed for decades, but which we've kind of accepted because it's been around for a long time. But now that climate change and mode shift and e-bikes becoming more prevalent, I want to bring it up again. So it's a problem that's existed for a long time, I said. But fortunately, there is a ready-made pre-cut solution in the MUTCD. And here's the problem. It's that traffic signals, they tend to work on detectors and the induction loop detectors, but they don't detect bikes or motorcycles. They completely ignore them most of the time. So the induction loops are just basically a loop in the pavement, a horizontal loop. So actually, could you show the first picture, Abe? So these are typically that's the last one.
Following number figure 1, 2, 3.
Sorry, try number 10.
10.
Sorry about that. I renumbered them afterwards. So typically these loops are in left turn lanes or sometimes straight lanes when on a secondary street where traffic signal has to detect a car that wants to turn. Now these induction loops, actually you can show the next one, which is probably number 11, are just carved in the pavement. And these are horizontal loops, so they're great at detecting horizontal objects that are over it, like a car, especially if they're large. So that's why they work so well for cars. But they can work for vertical objects like a bicycle or a motorcycle if it's in the right place. So if you go to the next one, please, Dave. So that the bike wheel, motorcycle wheel has to be just in the right place. It has to be tangential. It has to be right next to the loop. So that's one location that works. And then the next one, Abe, please. This is another one that works. It has to be right next to the circle, the loop. But again, it has to be just right. Because it's not optimally coupled, optimally coupled, sorry, means that you need two horizontal surfaces, and that's why it works so well for cars. But like if this loop is not quite correct, next one, Abe. So if, say, the bicycle or motorcycle stops in the middle of the loop, is not coupled, this will not be detected. Next one. Now this one, the cyclist has moved too far forward, is right laterally. And next one, this one tried centering, but it's nowhere near the loop. The next one, again, in the right position laterally, but not next to the loop. And the problem is that loop that I have in yellow is usually not visible. Sometimes it is, sometimes you can see it, sometimes not. And then, of course, the driver has to know exactly where to put it in relation to that loop. So if you run those green circles, they have to be, inches matter in that. So it's still plus and, it's still problematical whether you detected it. So that's why there's a problem. Now, the MUTCD has recognized this problem. So you already saw the answer. Abe showed it as figure 1. So that's figure 9C-7, I believe, and then has a sign that can accompany it. And so the next slide shows an example of it in use. So this has to be in Santa Monica, but it says put your bike right here and you'll be detected. And the next sign shows a sign that's posted next to that symbol. Now, it's still hit or miss, whether you're going to be detected or not. You have better chances if you put your bike on the symbol. So what the dream solution is, I think there's one more, is this, is that there's a blue light that comes on when it says, I see you, just wait, be patient, please. And that is really the ideal thing, because it's still hit or miss, like I said. If you put your bike in the right place, you don't know whether you're seen or not. You could wait till Christmas and you may not turn. But at least this light says, I gotcha. So that's my request, is that we put some of these MUTCD symbols on our intersections, because it's basically not that much capital investment. I mean, you know better than I do how much it costs to paint a symbol or stick a vinyl sticker on the road. They can be done incrementally. They can be one intersection at a time. They don't have to be done the whole city at a time. So, I mean, suppose one of these symbols costs $1,000. So that's not that much. You can do one at a time. It's great PR because it says we care. It says the city cares. The final point I want to make is that if a traffic signal ignored cars, it'd be fixed immediately. So these traffic signals have been ignoring bikes for decades, and they still are ignoring. So that's my request, is that we pay some attention. Maybe put it on the follow-up log? Is that what happens when we say we're going to pay attention to it? So that's my request. Thanks.
Yeah, to go on the follow-up log, it needs 3 commissioners to want to put it on. So you're 1.
I'm 2.
And Mary Lou is 2. And June, Commissioner Hansberger is 3. So we can put an item, this item on a follow-up log. I would just like to kind of clarify it and maybe zero in a little on what it is that we want on the follow-up log. So, because Abe is going to have to take a look at this. And so is the issue the fact that a lot of our loop detectors are not working and we want to look at that? Or is the issue that we want to put loop detectors down?
No, neither of those. Because the loop detectors, I think they all work fine.
Okay.
Again, if they didn't work, then cars would not be able to turn the lights, and it'd be fixed immediately. What I'm asking for is that if we evaluate these symbols, what it costs to apply some of them to some of the loops, and how feasible that is. Basically, an assessment of the feasibility of applying some of these symbols incrementally to some intersections. That can be based on how much traffic these intersections get, such as Coast Highway, or whether the road's been resurfaced. If it's resurfacing, then I think it's kind of a no-brainer to put those symbols down, because it's ideal time. You have to paint the symbols for the left turn arrow anyway. But anyway, I'm asking for a study of putting these symbols down.
And they will work, I mean, all you're asking for, if I understand correctly, is just a sticker on the road. We already have these things there, and it just shows where to put your bike tire. And then you'll trigger the light. So, I mean, if we could even just, a stencil, and you could just spray paint. I mean, I realize that would be the cheapest way to go, but that'd be pretty phenomenal, especially with all of the e-bikes and how heavy some of those e-bikes are. I bet it would, those definitely would work, but I think it sounds great.
Actually, let me clarify that, because these loops do not work by weight. They work by induction. And in fact, the e-bikes are even worse for being detected because their wheels are smaller, so they are even harder to detect.
You're gonna need to explain induction to me later, but not now. But anyway, not now.
Okay.
Similar to being in a magnetic field. So
It's cell magnets, that's all it is. I really
Got it.
appreciate you doing this, because I have been very frustrated of frequently, all right, I don't have it in the right place, so I get off my bike and I wait and I walk over and I use the pedestrian thing, and this is really, I didn't know this existed, this is fabulous.
Yes, people have to put up with, I have put up with the same
Yeah.
detour many times.
This would be great. Start at the Saxony, Lucadia Boulevard one.
Yes.
That's the worst one.
Yes, the other part you mentioned, we're trying to get people to mode shift and with more people to ride bikes, but I think that if they come across a traffic light that doesn't turn for them, that ignores them, it's kind of a showstopper.
It is.
They're gonna say, I'm gonna give up, this is a pain, because it doesn't see me.
Yeah, I gotta wait for a car to come to do it. Yeah,
Correct.
This is great.
Well, I also think it's a good thing to look into, especially since we're doing traffic signal modifications anyway. And it might be a good time when we're modifying traffic signals to put down some of these stencils to tell people on bikes where to stop. So, I don't know, Abe, is that something that you understand that we're kind of looking for?
yeah, we started a few weeks ago. I asked our traffic engineer and our intern to look into our signal as-built and also look at a street view to see how many bike loops we have in our bike lanes and where we don't have them, to kind of get a better feel. Because where we have bike lanes, usually it's pretty obvious where the loop is. This problem is usually where you don't have bike lanes. It can get complicated. With the 1.2 million grant that we have for upgrading our signal system, my plan is to make sure all of our bike lanes will get their own dedicated bike loops and our controllers are upgraded. And also, we are improving all of our crosswalks with this grant. It won't be hard when we're bringing striping crews to upgrade our crosswalks to add these, legends on the ground and add the additional signs. So I'm optimistic that with the good grant that we have, we can cover all this citywide. But I can, to start earlier, not to wait for a couple of months before that. Maybe come back to the commission sooner and present to you my findings about what we have around town. Okay, these are the intersections that have bike loops. These are the intersections that don't. We don't have bike lanes here, and these are the intersections that have signals. Maybe we can get to some sort of prioritization beforehand and start with a few intersections, go from there.
Could I mention that even if a bike lane has a loop, they're usually quad pole loops, right?
Correct.
Right. I think that actually may confuse bikers, so the symbol would still be helpful, even if you have
Even on
a
those.
quad loop detector there.
Yeah, I guess if we do it, we can do it everywhere on bike loops or in the travel lanes.
Yeah, and as I think June pointed out, you can do a pretty cheap experiment with spray paint or even just masking tape for a day and see how well it works.
I wish it was simple.
Yeah, I know.
Is it currently included in the El Camino Real plan, your suggestion and Commissioner Wong's suggestion?
I don't think it is.
Okay, because that's an active upgrade plan with restriping going on.
I think El Camino is done already.
It's all completed?
Yeah.
Well, secondarily, if we can get past this, we've seen at the intersection of Rancho Santa Fe Road and Encinitas Boulevard, they did kind of a 50% improvement. They basically restriped and painted over a partially fixed street after the sewer improvements were done, and that would have been a perfect opportunity to add this, if it works, to future restriping locations and enhance, as part of the renovation of that location or that sewer enhancement, to put it in to the bids. So it's not something we have to go back and retroactively do, but it's an ongoing upgrade if, in fact, it works. Be a very simple fix.
Yeah, we'll add it to the log. I'll come back and, yeah, this is not a project that I'm like really worried about funding, so I don't feel
Great.
that bad about it. Cool.
Yeah, that's the advantage of the incremental bill. But I'm pretty sure, to answer your question, it wasn't really a question, but it will work, because I know the loops are sensitive enough if you happen to put your bike in the right place. But that's what this symbol is supposed to help you do. I mean, it's not as ideal as the blue light, but that, like I said, that's a dream, blue light.
Okay. Thanks, Commissioner Wong. Anybody else on Commissioner Corner?
Yes.
All right. Commissioner Pendergrast.
There was a fatal accident at Normandy and Pyreas the other day, and I know that that strip along Vulcan has not, I guess it's Pyreas, has been on our agenda back and forth about where cars are parking. And it goes back to your point, Commissioner Von Neumann, about having historical items on our list. And I don't know where we ever ended up with, we talked about it quite a bit on Pyreas Street and how it's hard to walk and that people can't see and people are forced into the road. And I don't know the terms of the incident that occurred, but it just concerns me that we've, number one, had a fatal accident of a pedestrian being hit on a street that we've discussed in the past. So that's just really kind of a, hey, do we need to review that or bring it back up again if the commission needs to review that situation? That's one. Number two, the crosswalks at Lone Jack and Rancho Santa Fe Road. Abe, are those crosswalks already funded, or do those crosswalks need to be part of the next city budget, I believe that's coming up?
The crosswalks are like you mean marking them Continental and the ramps.
Yes.
They are funded. We will do them before the next fiscal year. So within the next 2 months, we anticipate being able to do those. The striping on Rancho Santa Fe is what's on the budget for next year. The lane narrowing and additional striping and what is that road? Cali Acervo.
Yep.
That intersection modification. The striping work is budgeted for, it's not yet approved, obviously, but it's on the books for next year. But the crosswalks, the 3 crosswalks actually, there is one that on the original consultant's design was suggested between Morning Sun and Lone Jack, but upon site visits and evaluations at the location, we decided Morning Sun itself is a better location, so we are moving it a little bit up toward the Morning Sun intersection.
So not the Olive Crest or the 13th Street, you're moving it to Morning Sun?
Morning Sun, correct.
Okay.
Because there's a stop sign further south, and then there's one stop sign north, which is Olive Crest, I think.
Yes.
So this one is kind of in the middle. The one that they had recommended was south of Morning Sun, which is really, there's nothing south of Morning Sun on the west side. It's just, I can pull it up on the, we felt like it's a, I'm not sure how it ended up. I think they observed some pedestrians there at some point when they were doing their site visits.
Right, so there's a stop sign, there's a 3-way stop at 13th, and then there's another
Yeah.
stop sign. All right, so that's 13th Street.
So
And
it
there are
was
no si- there-
initially
wait, go back.
proposed.
Hang on, you're going too fast. There's no sidewalks painted, crosswalks. I have this problem.
But this is a stop control.
Yes, but there's
So
no.
There's no
remember,
marked
this is-
crossing.
That's correct. There's no marked crossing. And remember, as children are going to both DeGaniel Middle School and OPE, this is a very busy cut through, as everybody knows, as you're trying to, people come off of Carlsbad and San Marcos cutting through to Ranch. This is very busy in the morning. So there's no crosswalks either at 13th Street painted, and there are no crosswalks. Now you can turn around and go north.
Yeah, I want to go to the location that on the study. So the study recommended the mid-block crossing somewhere around here. And we felt like there's no reason for somebody to walk all the way here and then cross. Apparently, some students decided to do that. Maybe the sight distance is better in this area because straight shot both sides, so they could see better. So they walked and they crossed here. But we thought if we mark up,
That's morning sun.
yeah, if we mark up this crossing here, we already have a ramp on this side, and then build a ramp and stopping on this side and add RFBs. And we can't even consider raising this.
Yeah, that's fine. I think one, you don't think you need two, but I think you just need to give kids a chance to safely cross.
Well, the thing is, we're following the council approval. At that point, it was only 3. It was Lone Jack, El Camino del Norte, and this one. On the report, it was called mid-block. We can always go back and add more, but these are turning out to be very costly because of how bad the ramps are. So believe it or not, the 3 crossing will end up costing us about $40,000, $50,000.
All right, the mid-block, I think the idea of mid-block versus either Morning Sun or Olive Crest is fine. I think those ramps have already been cut at Olive Crest. I think mid-block is, not going to determine if mid-block is better than this corner where the stop signs are already included. I would think that rationally, the stop sign intersection would be a great place to put a crosswalk.
I just go back to the very first one you were at, where it's like a 4-way stop. And I think you were just asking, can it just be painted there? I don't think, I mean, can we just paint on the ground, like just a crosswalk there? Or without putting it raised, without putting the signal thing, can you just paint it yellow so that cars would know to expect that kids are there? Or is that not okay to do if you don't have the
No, for a stop sign, it's not, we can't add the flashing beacons or not, we shouldn't, so that's easy. When you have a stop sign, the standards call for not doing RFEs, so you don't need the push button on those zigzagging yellows, I guess, the rectangular flashing beacons.
My question was,
problem
can you
is
just paint?
correct. The problem is the ADA compliance. So when you're introducing a new crosswalk, you have to make the corners ADA compliant, which by the look of that corner, how unimproved it is, we're looking at, I don't know, $10,000 easy, because the corner is pretty wide, so one ramp won't cut it. We probably need, so yeah, there is one here, but this is old.
Yes, that's old. That's been redone.
Yeah. Oh, the picture is old, so right now it's different?
I'm pretty sure Olive Crest has new
Standard ramps?
Standard ramps.
Okay,
with
that
the
can be
little-
easier.
with the bumpy things.
But this location will not work, so this is the design of the intersection. It seems like it needs 2 ramps the way I'm looking at it. Anyway, to answer your question, a lot of times these stop bars are designed without the, I guess, anticipation of the crossing going in. If I go to the aerial view, it might be easier to, yeah, so like you can see this one here. If we add a crosswalk, if you mark a crosswalk, all of these lines and legends would have to disappear because the painted crosswalk will fall on these lines. So they would have to be moved back, like this stop bar would have to move around here because the ramp is right now behind it. So if you form a crossing here, the crossing would be on the stop ward. So the stop bar would have to be moved back. These have to be grinded out. These have to be moved back. Similar with this one, if this is the ramp, I think this is the ramp here. If you form a crossing here, everything here would have to be grinded out. So it becomes a project. It's, yeah, it's not just, yeah.
All right, can you just go up a little bit further to the north? Have that same conversation. You can see over at above the word Olive Crest and below the word Olive Crest, that on the Olive Crest side, those ramps were already put in.
These 2 on the west
Yes.
are pretty new. They're standard. These 2 are non-standard.
That's right.
They have to be redone. And Yeah, similar case. A crossing here would mean everything has to be removed here.
Right? So now
Yeah.
move forward to the next intersection that does not have stop signs would be
This is Morning Sun.
Morning Sun.
So this is a simpler one. This is what we are thinking about doing. As you can see, it's pretty empty in front of it. So a few lines here.
But help me
adding-
understand the rationale why we would put a crosswalk here just because the ramps are done in the middle of a street that doesn't have a stop sign, whereas maybe 50 yards to the south, you already have stop signs in place. So
The rationale is when you
to a mid-block?
when you have a stop sign, it's considered safe. So it's a practice in the city that we very rarely do mark stop-controlled intersections with continental crosswalks. We do that signals, but the other locations we tend to do it is for extra delineation. We want to provide awareness. We want to provide notification to the drivers. This Morning Sun location is uncontrolled, so if we introduce a good delineation, a lot of signs marking on the ground, a lot of the RFBs maybe raising it, that would provide a safer condition for a pedestrian to cross, as in comparison to intersection that vehicles come to a 0 mile per hour. Even in California rolling, like if you're hit by a vehicle that's rolling, you're gonna live. So
Well, it's also, if you put it mid-block, it's going to slow the traffic on Rancho Santa Fe even more, right? You're going to provide another slow spot, and that corner is really connecting OPE and the back way into Degano. So I think it's a phenomenal location and a great use of funds to get, a crosswalk and slow traffic on, because it can really fly down that road. It does. So yes, thank you for looking at all of that, Abe. I really appreciate it because I run out there and kids go to school and it's fabulous.
Anybody else, Commissioner Corner?
I got one.
Yeah.
Oh, I got a few, sorry, but I'll try to be fast. Okay.
Maybe some of yours will be
Or
like
yours.
mine.
Okay. My first one is, I think I forgot to catch it on the follow-up log, was the Vulcan parking study. I know it was on there and I just didn't get the update. So I would love an update on that because I think it ties directly to my next concern, which is the rail study, and just trying to see if we could actually add just updates on the rail study to our follow-up log, because I feel like Leucadia has waited over a year now for basically the at-grade rail study to get started. It was funded with the CIP in 2021. It was supposed to be awarded an RFP, I think, in September of 2021. It still hasn't happened. And I think we all received a lot of emails about this today that because we are traffic and mobility, they want us to, I guess they were asking us to follow up on what is the holdup? And if you could look into that for us and just share with us the process here each month and let us know how it's moving forward, because our entire corridor is now getting fenced off. We still do not have safe passage along Vulcan Avenue. People cannot walk safely to get to the two access points on La Costa or Leucadia Boulevard to then go around the tracks and access businesses, beaches, et cetera. I know I'm a broken record. But the bottom line is, I don't understand why there's money there for the study. We're waiting on the consultant. I just don't understand why it still hasn't been awarded to at least let us know, yes, can at-grade rail crossings happen? And if the answer is no, then fabulous or unfabulous, however it works out, I really like them. But we need to be able to move forward. If we can't get at-grade rail crossings, then we need to change direction and design an overpass or an underpass for North Leucadia. And we're just in this terrible holding pattern since 2021. And so, sorry.
I did see those
thank you.
emails. This is not handled by traffic team, it's handled by our CIP team. I did check with our NEO director, former city engineer. She mentioned that there is a $250,000 budget, and I don't want to give a wrong date, but I want to say it was 25th this month, or it's very, very close. I wasn't over the phone. I think she said 25th. But don't quote me on the date. It is very soon, either this month or next, that the consultant will be selected. She mentioned might take up to 18 months for the consultant to evaluate the corridor. There are two tentatively, I guess, selected locations for them to evaluate, Glaucus and Grandview, I think, that they're supposed to check travel patterns, how pedestrians work, where they go, maybe follow them. I don't know how they want to study that, but find out how they move in the corridor and maybe go to Lucadia and go up. I don't know if they're going to follow them that long, but that's basically the gist of it. They're going to analyze the population, how they works with 101 and how they need to cross. And then comes the hard part. After that would be dealing with CPUC, California Public Utilities Commission, who are in charge, and then the Federal Railroad Administration, FRA. Those are the two big authorities in charge of authorizing at-grade crossing, mainly CPUC, the Public Utilities Commission. From what I hear, it's a very, very tough process, if not impossible, to get authorization from them. But our folks, our CIP team are going through the process. They're not basically assuming it's not possible. They're going to spend the money, they're going to evaluate, create all the documentation needed, and go there and bat for us to see if they can make it happen. I don't want to just create a false hope that, okay, these are the steps and in 3 years we'll have it. Because no matter how much study and documentation we do, at the end, CPUC can say, no, I'm not going to allow it. So I can't really say it's going to happen or not, but it is in the process. Why it didn't happen from September last year till now, I don't have the answer to that. But I do know that my director said it is happening. So the consultant will be on board soon.
Thank you very much for looking into that. I really appreciate it because it is important to all of us in Northwest Leucadia. And then my second, or my first one, which turned into my second.
If
is
I can
Vulcan.
interrupt for a
Yeah.
quick second. Are you asking for an update on this process to be on our follow-up log? If so, then we would need 2 other commissioners to approve it. And I don't mind asking if anybody else supports that. I know Abe said that that's not normally something that Traffic and Engineering Department is usually involved in, but maybe this is a great opportunity for us to bring different departments together in order to be able to speak in one voice and know one thing. In other words, maybe you aren't going to be, maybe you don't do the analysis or the study or the report, but if it's on our follow-up log before a meeting, you can say, oh, I need to speak with the city engineer, see if there's any new information on this. And it's that way that we would know what's going on with all these different departments. Like our city, this is my opinion, we have too many silos, and it's difficult. I'm sure the different departments in the city are talking to each other, but those discussions don't get down to us necessarily. So maybe this is an opportunity, if we put this on the follow-up log, it would get people thinking, oh, Traffic Commission needs to know, needs an update on this process. I personally think that would be great to have. And it might even create an opportunity for somebody from a different department to come and update us on that item. Because crossing the railroad tracks is a very important thing for pedestrians. And also, I'll say, alternative modes of transportation. So I think it falls into our interests and everything. And if Commissioner Hansberger would like this to be on the follow-up log, I would support that.
Thank you. I would.
I'll support as well.
Okay. Amanda, is that kind of understandable? And Abe, do you understand that we don't expect you to develop a big report or anything, just be able to
This is
report
within
back
our
to us if
department.
there's any information?
This is our own department, so I can ask Jill
Excellent.
to, send somebody from whoever is going to be the project manager to send us one of our team members to come, or just brief me, and then I can update the commission. This is internal.
That'd be great. Thank you. I'm sorry to
That is
interrupt.
fabulous. Thank you so much. I really, really appreciate that. That's That's exactly what I was looking for, and I thank you. I did, it's really quick. What was the update on Vulcan? I saw it was on there, it was the Vulcan parking study. I think it was listed on there because hopefully we can change the orientation of parking and create us a safe passage.
I do know there has been conversations, upper management and city council. We are supposed to conduct a preliminary analysis to see about the feasibility and come up with a preliminary cost estimate. But that's the extent of it. I'm not sure if there has been any budget approval for this analysis but I do know it's going forward.
Thank you. I did see it was on the CIP's, one of their slides as like a quick build project. So hopefully the analysis will come back, and I don't think that budget has been yet approved, but it is on there. So thank you very much.
Anybody else?
Yes, I'm sorry, I have one more. Is there a quick update on, oh, I lost it. Sorry.
Well, I have a, go ahead.
I'm sorry. Abe, is there any quick update on the conversations between the city of Solana Beach and the city of Encinitas regarding the Harbaugh Trail crossing on the south end of 101 at our city limit? Just an update. Or do I need to add, that wasn't on the list, so Commissioner.
No, go ahead.
Do I need to ask to put it on the list?
I don't think, at this time, I don't think so.
Okay, so just an update on those conversations.
I do believe there has been conversations, again, upper management, council and city manager level. I have a vague memory of hearing it is on the next fiscal year. There is a couple $100,000 being added to the budget. I have to go take a second look at our budget to see if it's in there. I want to say it was added for the next year. I guess fortunately or unfortunately, unfortunately for spending the money, this is in our city, and we would have to basically request contribution from City of Solana Beach. So if they decide not to contribute, everything will be on us, and that can make it, I guess.
So I could actually review the city budget and find a line item that might be in there, whether they accept it or not, but that's where it currently
So it is in
rests.
there, okay.
Okay, is that, so it's a question to you. Is that what we're currently be sitting right now would be in next year's fiscal budget for a signal, or I'm not sure what it is going to be?
Yeah, what I see in there, if I wanted to create a crossing, would be an official signal, kind of like Swami's,
Okay.
like a pet crossing signal, with a median refuge and the whole, 9 yards of signs on both sides in the middle. There are some concerns we received from our Solana Beach colleagues that some residents have concerns about their beach view from those houses on the, I guess, west side of the rail, east side of the rail, behind Harbaugh. They feel like if we put a signal here, it can block their view of the ocean. So we are considering different poles that maybe we can use shorter poles or poles that have minimal obstruction of view. But those are all, those all happen after we actually have the funds. So the vague memory that I said, so you saw the same thing. So there is a line there. So if it goes through, then we'll do more. At this point, this is more an idea than an actual project.
Understood.
Can I just ask quickly, was the CIP approved? I'm sorry, I'm not sure I watched the last meeting. Is the budget finally approved? I was at one where it was still in draft form. Has it?
Not yet, still.
So it hasn't been approved. So it's not a line item yet. And what I saw, I think that was also on one of the quick build project slides. Like it actually was on there, which I wasn't sure it was actually, the funding I was thinking might need more than just what, I don't know the definition of quick build. What exactly does that mean? But, so the
That would not be a quick build project. That would take months. Yeah.
That's what I was thinking too. Okay. Anyway, I know I saw it on a slide, but the CIP has not been approved yet.
No, the budget document is not approved. There has been 2, I think, preliminary meetings, drafts, yeah, and there's, I think, another one this Wednesday. I'm not sure. I'm not even sure if this one is final. I think there's one more.
Thank you for asking that question, because as a result of the study and analysis that the city did about raised crosswalks on South Coast Highway, it seems as if there is nothing really, it didn't seem as if those were going to go forward. The issue still remains is that there are people running across the road there trying to get from Harbaugh Trails over to the ocean. The situation remains where cars are driving way too fast on South Coast Highway through Cardiff, and I don't see the city really addressing that issue at all, and I don't really know where to go, what's next on it. Hearing that, a signalized crossing would be wonderful, but, we're looking at maybe 2 years. And every time I drive by there or ride my bike along that section, I see people running across the road. And I'm surprised, I'm just opinionating right now. I'm surprised the city is not concerned about this situation more than it really is. We had someone killed on Pyreas. I don't understand why we can't slow traffic down on that stretch of road. And my suggestion, was to raise crosswalks and everything similar to what's on Highway 101 through Leucadia. But it doesn't seem as if that's going to go forward. I just don't know, what else to do, and it's a big concern of mine. I think, talk of Vision Zero is wonderful. I don't see the actions right now for the city, and everything that people try to suggest or recommend, or it costs too much money, takes too much time, and it's disappointing. And I understand that's probably the landscape and the government that we have to work with. It's just very, very disappointing that we're not doing anything to resolve that issue. But so that's just an idea. But I do have some specific questions about or thoughts and ideas on Commissioner Corner. What's the update on the resident parking permit for that area off of Via Molina? The commission actually approved or recommended that it be approved.
We passed the information to the city attorney to draft it for the city council. City attorney rejected the recommendation, and I believe the residents were communicated by our director that this item will not go to council because it was rejected by the city attorney.
Mm-hmm. Okay. At least I can let residents know if they ask me about that, so thank you for that.
Is there a written rejection that is public, or is it just his opinion and that's not public?
I can look into to see if I'm pretty sure there is some sort of an email internal that the city attorney directed us not to take it to council, not considered legal by his opinion. We can look into it to see if there is any kind of a...
Thank you. I only asked because that was clearly a recommendation from the commission, and there's precedent. I wasn't on the committee at the time. There was precedent to have one of those in another place in the city, so I'm just curious
what the reasoning is.
Thank you.
I do think that Abe's study, or I don't know who did the traffic study, but I know it was recommended not to approve it because of the study that your staff did. So maybe that is part of the reasoning, because they couldn't support it, right? So
one piece was the technicality of it. As you mentioned, the data didn't support, but I believe from what I remember, the rejection was based on legal precedent that a similar case happened in a different city. I don't remember the name of the city, but the case, the court case was basically limiting access to parking in a residential, in a single-family residential, similar to this case, because of the impact of an apartment complex, very, very similar landscape, I guess. And the judge found that it's discrimination, basically, that you're not allowing parking to those apartment people. Obviously, our case is not because of, the difference in, I guess, the demographic. It was a different reason, but the ruling was that you cannot, just because somebody lives in a less expensive house, residents get their privilege of being able to park by a more expensive house, something to that level.
Okay, thank you. I think at the last meeting, it was brought up, a question was brought up about the new 35-mile-an-hour pavement legends that were painted on Vulcan. And my understanding is that that was a mistake. And so my question is are they going to be removed?
I'm not sure if, maybe I mentioned it wrong. So I think the legends are matching our speed limits. The only thing that I said was an oversight by me was the fact that they were done in thermal. So we did all of our other legends, I believe, in regular traffic paint that are easier to remove and replace with a different one. This was the only one that apparently we didn't put the proper note on the plan that went to the contractor, and they painted it in thermal. But I don't think it's wrong. Like, we didn't paint 35 anywhere that the speed limit is 30, right?
Not that I'm aware of.
Yeah, I think the southern segment is 30, north of Leucadia is 35.
Mm-hmm.
So the southern segment got the 30 legends, the northerly one got 35. The only thing that was, usually in roadways that have poor surfaces, we don't do thermal, so that if we want to improve the pavement, we don't have to really get rid of the thermal. We can just, slurry over it or paint over it. But this one, we did thermal. But the sharrows are all regular traffic paint.
So if the reclassification of that road, Vulcan, San Elijo, does go through and it is set at 25, then they'll be
We would have to
removed
grind
then,
them out,
obviously.
yes.
So right now, we have Coast Highway 101 through at 30 miles an hour with very few residents, and then we have a 35-mile-an-hour speed limit on Vulcan, a more residential-oriented street. So hopefully, maybe sometime in the future, we can do a new speed survey and at least get that speed lowered, at least to match the southern end. I think that would be a good idea, but
Hopefully we can convert it to 25 even sooner than that. Like, we don't even need to do a survey. If we
if
push
we get
this
that
prima
through.
facie through, we don't even need to.
I'll keep my fingers crossed then. And then somebody had made a comment about why is there a double yellow line on Vulcan? Because a double yellow line is not supposed to be crossed by an automobile or anybody else to pass a slower vehicle. So basically, having a double yellow line there is not encouraging, but creating a situation where if an automobile wants to pass me on my bicycle, riding in the lane on Vulcan, they have to cross a double yellow line, which opens them up to being ticketed. So, I mean, would it have been a better idea and less, less danger for someone, an automobile to be ticketed if it was just a single yellow line?
I don't like the idea of allowing people passing each other on a road like Vulcan. I'd rather the car stay behind you forever than allowing them to cross.
Okay.
That's my opinion. I feel like.
I like that too, but when you're on your bike and there's a car behind you that wants you to get out of the way, it can feel really threatening to the cyclist. And I do know we have a lot of moms and dads riding their e-bikes with multiple children on the back down that road. Now, I realize the e-bikes can go a little faster than your regular bicycles, but it's still, I have had multiple families bring this up to me, so thank you for bringing it up again. I don't know what the answer is, but I know that they are feeling concerned about it.
Yeah, I mean, passing brings up all other sorts of passing. I'm sure you know better than me. our drivers are not very good at managing, passing each other on small, narrow roads like this, speeds around 30. The acceleration needed, the navigation, going out of the lane, coming back, making sure they have enough safe spacing with the bike in front of them when they come back with the bike behind them. There are all sorts of, complication that can arise from. I know it's an inconvenience, but I can assure you no vehicle, well, I guess it's tough to say no, but nobody's going to hit you from behind. No matter how long you stay in front of a vehicle, they're not going to run you over. So yeah, there might be some honking horns or some gestures, but it's a learning curve. At some point, they'll learn that, okay, well, there are sharrows on the road, and it's a slow road. I got to accept this bicycle in front of me.
They don't do that, though. They get very annoyed if they have to wait behind you 5 seconds. And then they're going to pass you, double line or not, and do these punishment passes. They pass you really quick and cut in very close. So I know the idea is supposed to be they follow you, but that's not what happens.
What would you say the percentage of those people, like, I would not pass you? I know my nobody would do such a illegal, because it's like a very, very illegal move and very dangerous. Yeah, like it's like, safety aside, you're looking at a very, very big ticket, and if you get into an accident, it's, so I don't know, like the anger level of the driver. I know no matter how much frustrated I be, I would never do that.
Well, you are an exceptional driver, Dave, and if you do that, because I've never had someone wait behind me with double yellow line. Like the short section on San Elijo in Cardiff, from, it's on the cliff, is very short. Yeah. It's probably less than a quarter mile. But people pass me there. Even though they can't see down, and you're heading towards Cardiff, you can't see down the hill, but they still pass. So they don't know whether there's a car coming, but they'll still pass because they don't want to wait a few seconds.
Yeah, I mean, again, maybe, yeah, as you mentioned, it's a decision. I guess that's my preference to, accept.
Kudos to you.
Yeah, I feel like I'd rather not allow passing there, because then it would be on me. If somebody does an illegal move and something happens, at least I can say, well, it was an illegal movement. It wasn't something that I opened it up. But if I convert it to a dash and allow people passing each other, anything happens there, it would be on me.
Let me say, I fully back you. I agree with you. It's mainly driver behavior. I don't know how to change that. That's the problem.
It will get better. I would say the first few weeks or the first few months, people don't, because people have not been seeing bikes in front of them on Vulcan and being, blocked by the narrow lane. It used to be 14 feet, 13 feet. And they could pass the bicyclists, and the bicyclists would go to the side. Still, I guess northbound is doable. Northbound bikers can get out of the way because we left most of the width to the east side, to the it. I guess southbound is the problem, because southbound is only 10 feet now with no edge. So the biker would have to block the lane. It will get better. It will get, our drivers will learn.
I hope your prediction comes true. Thank you for it.
What I try to do as a driver, like I live in Fairbanks Ranch area, east of Via de la Valle, east of the fairgrounds. There are a lot of bikers there. I'm sure you ride a lot. You know that area. When I see a bicyclist, a lot of time bicyclists move to the edge, and I encourage you to do it as drivers. Move to the edge, try to give you room as a courtesy to pass them, but when I notice the lane is narrow, I mean, I most probably can pass them while staying in the lane. I won't have that 3 feet distance. So what I do, I don't pass them. I tell them come back in with hand gesture. A lot of them see me, and I stay behind them and let the drivers behind me slow down. A lot of them try to, push me to pass. I'm like, no. He's in the lane, he has the lane, let him be. So that way I train the cyclists, do not open the lane up, stay in the middle, and I try to train the drivers behind me that, hey, there's shallow markings, the lane is narrow, let him be. Eventually, it takes time, but hopefully in 2-3 years, people learn that, hey, they have the same rights as you. Like, the lane is narrow, they are allowed to stay in the middle.
So Abe, when I'll send you my schedule for my bike rides on that section of
Stay
road.
behind you, escort you.
And I'll have you escort. No, but seriously, I understand your position and everything, and I hear that. But as people who ride their bikes on that road know, that we are not bicyclists are not welcome on our city roads by many people. And the bigger the vehicle, the more aggravated they seem to be. This is my personal opinion. But also, I think this is a good opportunity to help train motorists and let them know that the streets are not for automobiles only, they're for everybody. And we should have more pavement legends on the road that says bicycles may use full lanes. They do exist on the South Cardiff 101. And over the past year or so, I have noticed more and more bicyclists riding in that lane and not going over to the edge. So they're letting motorists know that, hey, I can be there. But those pavement legends that say may use full lane are really, really effective. And when I'm riding my bike on there and I look in my mirror, cars are pulling into the #1 travel lane way before they get to me. So that stuff does work. So maybe that's what we need to do is put more may use full lane pavement legends down on Vulcan to help everybody understand what's allowed and what should be respected, so to speak.
We can certainly look into that, yes.
Yeah, and let's see, I had one other question. Jack Lobier is our mobility coordinator.
Correct.
Yeah, I personally would love to have him come and do a presentation to us sometime in the near future.
I have passed it was on our meeting minutes, I believe. I did pass the request to our planning team.
Okay, thank you.
Commissioner Von Neumann, would you like to add to the commissioner's log Abe to go back and evaluate a location or two along Vulcan that might be a good place to potentially put the bicycles can share the road? No, not really. I think if you put them every 100 feet, that would be good. 500 feet? A bunch of them. But anyway, I don't have anything more. If anybody, Commissioner Hansberger.
Sorry, I have one last thing. Abe, I emailed you earlier in the month about, there's a sign right past the roundabout, maybe Mr. Campbell has seen it, that says, that there's a sign that says bumps, and it's like little black bumps. What is that? And
I asked our team members to look at it. They are looking into the history to find out how it ended up there. They're looking into it. Amanda, do you know, has Ian found anything? I know he's looking into it,
okay,
yeah.
are we getting bumps, or it's just somebody just put up a sign?
No, this sign was there. We're looking at finding out how it ended up there and what was the reasoning.
If nobody else has anything, I would say that we can adjourn. We don't need a motion to adjourn, do we?
I think we do.
We're adjourned until next month. Huh? Before 9 o'clock? It's even before 8.
I know, that's what I'm saying.
Oh, we kind of stay here for another hour, just chat.
Are we done? Do we need a motion? I'm sorry. Was that
I think we need.
I think we need motion.
I'd like to make a motion to adjourn.
Is there a motion to adjourn?
There's a motion to adjourn.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye. Aye. All those opposed? Good. Thank you.
Thank you. We received an email